Good morning. Good morning. Good
Good
evening.
morning. That's a great way to start the show, Paul. Good morning. Yeah, because it's totally morning. It's morning somewhere in the world, but it ain't morning here.
Add that to the blooper reel. Good
Yeah,
evening,
that'll definitely
everyone.
be part of the blooper reel.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Undercovers podcast. Here, Connor is back for his second straight week. Ben had a
Oh
dip
yeah.
right at the beginning of the show, but he will be back next week. We're here talking, the Bills. They extended their lead in the AFC East, but also may have came into an expense of the trade deadline, where the Bills were crickets really all day today. There was some reports saying that the Bills were in on on Sebastian Joseph Day. A deal ultimately did not go down, and so we're here with the same Bills team as we had just on Sunday. Dwayne Smoot also goes on the IR right at the 4 o'clock window. So that really wraps up, a Bills day in a nutshell. We'll, discuss that a little bit later because it is NFL trade deadline day. So we have some topics on the NFL trade deadline. And let's start with yours, Connor. And this is the obvious answer, reacting, obvious question reacting to the NFL trade deadline. Who won and who lost the NFL trade deadline?
Okay, so who won? This is a very easy question to answer. Everybody that's not Dallas. Literally, if you did nothing at the trade deadline, you did better than Dallas. I cannot fathom what on earth they're doing over there. Your season is literally over. Dak Prescott is going on IR. He will be out 4 games. In these next 4 games, you could get absolutely slaughtered by every single team on that docket. And you're going to trade a fourth round pick for a guy whose name I can't even remember right now because it's just nobody knows who he is. And why? What's what's the point? Like, I don't understand what the Cowboys are thinking here, and that's why I say, literally, if you, like the Bills, did nothing, you still won the trade deadline because you literally did better than the Cowboys. Like, you want to talk about biggest loser? It's definitely Dallas by a
Yeah.
mile. It is not even close. It is by a mile. But that is the easy choice. I mean, there's definitely teams that I would say lost for sure.
Mhm.
Um, there's none I can't really think of off the top of my head. I think the Lions got Zadarius Smith from the Browns,
They
if I
did.
remember correctly. That
Mhm.
actually is a very good. That's a big win because they needed help in that position after Aiden Hutchinson went down for the season. So that's a win for them. Um, I feel like there's not many other like big winners because this was more like the 2010s
Silent
era
deadline.
free agency. There wasn't really much that happened. Most of the big name moves happened before today. The Jets landing Devontae Adams, the Bills landing Amari Cooper. Those moves, the big ones, were already well done. I think the biggest one to happen today, though, and what I would also say the biggest winner of today is the Commanders trading for Marshawn
Yes.
Lattimore. The rich get absolutely richer, and it's still the weirdest thing in the world to me. I've been watching football now since 2007. I have never seen a Commanders team that is elite. I've seen them fluke their way into being good. I've seen them be 10-6. That's the best I had seen until now. And I had seen them make the playoffs at 7, 9, and 1, I'm pretty sure it was. Or it might have, yeah, it was, I think it was 7, 9. It might have been 7 and 10, or just straight up 7 and 9 back. No, it was 7 and 9 in 2020 when they won that horrible NFC East. But now all of a sudden the Commanders are 7 and 2 and look like the second best team in the entire NFC, right behind the Lions. Arguably, they have a case for better than the Lions in some categories. So they are the biggest winners getting Lattimore like that. That was a great grab for them. But
The
there's not
Commanders.
really what?
I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a fun fact on the Commanders really quick. The last time they were 7-2, can you guess what their record was at the end of the season?
Is this sometime like in the '80s? How many games were there? Were there 14 games or 16 games?
Like 98. When
Okay, 98, so there'd
70,
be 16
yeah,
games,
yeah.
and this is the last time they were 7-2?
Mhm. What
What
time? What do you think their final record was?
they finished like 9-7 or something? 8-8?
Yeah, they finished 9-7. So if you're
Not
thinking
shocking.
you're 7-2 as the Commanders fan right now, you're like, okay, we still have to add because last time we were 7-2, we finished the season
Mhm.
nearly at a 500 pace. So how you go out and get more, you have to be aggressive, and the new ownership, the new GM in Washington has the Commanders going a different way than
It's so
what
beautiful.
previous ownership did. It just was sit on badness, on just bad defeat, and as it was just a continual rin cycle. And here in new ownership in Washington, they're 7-2, new hype,
Literal new
new
team.
hype, new hope, new
You
team.
know you know what the best thing for them is? For the first time in a long time, they have a franchise quarterback, and they won't need to
Hmm.
worry about getting another franchise quarterback probably now for about another 10 years, as long as Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels doesn't, have an RG3 experience, which
I don't think
let's
you will.
hope not. I really don't think he will, but, anyway, we had more quick takes than that. I could go on and on about the trade deadline and how this was just, more of a 2010 style trade deadline. Nothing really happened on
I
the day
sat
of.
bored today.
Do what?
I sat bored all day today. Like there was
Oh,
no chaos.
you
That
did
whatever.
not. You were sweating your rear end off
Okay.
thinking about the Bills and trying to get Brandon Bean to buy when we weren't in a buyer's market.
Well,
But we'll get
we'll
into
get to
that.
that later.
All right.
What's the next foot take?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Ben's, but I want to give it to you. And I already kind of hit on this, but you can hit on it a little more in depth. Did the Cowboys make the right decision to buy at the deadline instead of sell? Remember, I basic remember what I said
They
earlier.
got Jonathan Wingo for basically a bag
Oh,
of chips.
that's it. Jonathan Wingo.
Y- his name is Mingo. It's Mingo. It's M-I. It's not a W. It's not with a W. It's with the M. So it's Jonathan
Yeah,
Mingo.
Mingo.
Mingo, from Carolina for a seventh round pick. And D Hop was, if you're on a Carolina, scale, right? Mingo is a decent wide receiver. So, you trade him for a seventh round pick, D Hop and win for a fifth. So you would think that's a bad trade on Carolina's part, giving, uh whoever's the who is the Cowboys backup? Is it Cooper Rush?
Yes, it's Cooper Rush.
Okay. So you're giving Cooper Rush, Jonathan Mingo, and a bunch of other players because it looks like CD Lamb is hurt right now. So we
He
don't
is.
know the status of CD Lamb for the rest of the season, even for this game. Sitting here, if you're Jerry Jones,
Wait,
you want the Cowboys to do good. You know,
Paul.
you're owning this team. You have, Jerry Jones wants this team to be good. I think Jerry Jones is still living in the Troy Aikman era and the
Oh, he
Troy
is.
Aikman, Jimmy
He
Johnson
absolutely
era.
is. Hold up. Wait, Paul. Look at this comment from
Yeah,
Carl. Do you think Brandon Beane will re-sign Jordan Phillips, released today by the Cowboys, to help the defensive line since Dwayne Smoot was placed on IR? This has been a huge
I
discussion. Paul, I want to give this one to you. I don't want to talk about it. I get angry every time I think about it.
good question,
I watch his
Carl.
tape and I just go,
It seems right now that's the direction Brandon Bean's going. It's just based off that Instagram report post by oh my goodness, I can't speak right now. By Jordan Phillips. I think that's the direction the Bills are going right now.
yikes.
Do I think it's the right decision? Absolutely not. And
Huh.
let's ditch the quick takes and just go right into the first Bills topic. This is a perfect segue, Carl, because the first topic tonight
Yes.
was did Bean make a mistake not making a move at the trade deadline, and this is the exact reason why it's a mistake. you had so many really good players on the trade market, and you had maybe a deal in place, but you didn't go for it with Sebastian Joseph Day. And let me tell you why it's a mistake based on Joseph Day's numbers. You can get Joseph Day for under $1 million right now. Under a million. That's perfect because you got Cooper at right around 6,000 to about $8,000 on your cap. So that's a manageable contract for Brandon Bean to take. He's a free agent in 2025, so he's low cost and he's going to be efficient to this team. How is he going to be efficient to the Buffalo Bills? Is that he's 12th in the NFL right now at his position in stops. He has 15 stops right now. And according to PFF, obviously we know PFF can be weird with their grades, but right now he has a 65.7 run stopping grade, which is really good right now for Sebastian Joseph Day. He's 29. He fits the Bills scheme. It's all of the pieces for Sebastian Joseph Day fit. They just refuse to go out and get him. Whether maybe they were asking, maybe the price was a little pricey. That seems like the reports out here is like it was a little pricey for Brandon Bean to go get Sebastian Joseph Day. But Bean, you went out and grabbed Cooper Cup for a third and a sixth. What was expensive about getting a guy that can be productive
Did you
on
just
your
say Cooper
defensive
Cup?
line? Huh?
Did you just say Cooper Cup?
Might have. I meant Amari
Paul, he's
Cooper.
still with the Rams.
You went out and grabbed Amari
Amari
Cooper
Cooper. There you go.
for a third and a sixth. But you couldn't go out and get Sebastian Joseph Day to at least help your run game. That's where I'm kind of mad about. You know,
Kinda.
you had so many options out there. You had you had Juwan Thornhill, you had Calais Campbell, you had Sebastian Joseph Day. You probably could have went out and grabbed Tyrann Mathieu. You could have grabbed just a whole bunch of guys that's on your list, and you grabbed none of them. Yes, this wasn't really a buyer's market at the trade deadline, and that really shone throughout the day. Kind of was just like a big lull all day. But that doesn't mean you can't be the first one and go grab a big name guy. I mean, Sebastian Joseph Day isn't a huge name, but he will be a huge name in Buffalo because he can help supplement this run defense and get it to going the next way. And I think the pass rush will get better if you can get a guy that can help stop the run. I think both work hand in hand.
Well, I mean, I'll let you I'll let you have your moment right there just because I wanted you to have that moment.
Okay.
It was a very good thing to say. Oh, we have another comment. 716 Sports Blizzard says, "Hi, Paul and Connor. Go Bills." Yes,
Hey.
absolutely. Go Bills.
Whew.
And
All right.
all right, now
Mini
it's
rant
time
over.
for yes. We let you have your fun. Now let me actually let me bring everybody back to a little bit of realism here. I
That was
thought
You
about it.
think I wasn't real?
Paul, you weren't real a few hours ago. We know that, but I'm just kidding with you. Anyway,
Okay.
I keep thinking, I just keep thinking about why they didn't make a move for Sebastian Joseph Day
Mhm.
if the price was as everybody had been saying it was, if the cap hit would have been less than $1 million, if you would have had to give up maybe at best a fourth round pick for Sebastian Joseph Day because the Commanders were in on him too, and it had been rumored that the Commanders were not going to give up more than a fifth, and the Bills have
Mhm.
plenty of fourth rounders to give up. So that was where I thought this might have come from. But at the end of the day, I keep thinking about it, and I did for a while. Um, it just seems to me like there's something going on that we did not hear about as fans. That's why Brandon
Mhm.
Bean is the GM and we're not, because I feel like something happened behind the scenes that caused Bean to say no. And I feel like maybe the commanders, the Titans were trying to tell the Bills to take more of his contract. Maybe they were asking for a whole lot more in terms of draft capital. there's just something that happened behind the scenes that none of us, I think, will ever know about unless anybody watching has connections to someone inside the Bills organization. But I just don't think that there was any kind of way that they were going to be able to pull it off when you think about it a lot, because if it was that easy, then they would have done it. The Bills would have absolutely done it. There's just something that's telling me that the Titans might have been asking for a little bit more than what either the Bills or Commanders wanted to offer. And because of that, the Commanders pivoted and got Marshawn Lattimore. The Bills really didn't have a pivot because if you think about it, their pivot is Matt Milano getting healthy and returning to the lineup. And to be fair, the entire all the injuries right now, returning to the
Mhm.
lineup when the time is right will be huge. Getting Matt Milano back is basically going to be like getting a star playmaker right in the middle of the field, and that's huge when you think about it. But oh, he commented Bass 61-yard field goal. I got nervous, wouldn't lie to the fan base. Go Bills and yes, go Bass. I love it because I hung up I hung the jersey back up on my wall before the game started. I didn't even really think about it because I had to wash my Taron Johnson jersey, and he does that. He kicks a 61-yard field goal, longest in Bills history, to beat the
Yeah.
Dolphins. And believe me, I feel vindicated because I'm one of the few that always stood up for Tyler Bass. Why else would I have a jersey of his on my wall behind me? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that is something that will absolutely restore the confidence of any kicker. Period. Take it from someone who has tried kicking it in an actual game. Like, you kick one of those, you can forget about anything else you did because you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. So, let's see.
Yeah, Tyler Bass. I'm
We've
gonna
got we've
just a
got more to
quick thing
talk
on Tyler
about.
Bass. You know, when that when we decided to go for that 61-yard kick, I was like, McDermott, this is probably the worst decision you can possibly make right now. Like, punt it, take it to overtime. I could deal with that. Just don't kick this field goal. Yes, I know the field goal would win the game. But just the way that the trajectory of Tyler Bass, I just didn't feel confident in that decision. But
I mean,
McDermott trusted Bass. Bass lived the moment and he earned that moment. And I'm happy for him.
I
And
think we all are. That was easily the best moment that the Bills have had in a long time. Like, they needed that. And Carl with the absolute facts. Oh, did you hide it? There we go. Bass had a 40, 49, and a 61 plus one extra
mhm,
point for 10 points in the game. That's always a huge vote of confidence in your kicker when they make a 40 and a 49 and then a 61. You have a lot of confidence in your kicker. It's like when they brought in the free agent names for a workout, Bass just probably went, and I took that personally
mhm,
and wound up doing this, which has secured his spot on the roster. Because I had been trying to tell people for months before, you can't just cut Tyler Bass. Go look at his cap. You cannot cut him. Besides, who are you going to get? And he's proven why he needs to stay with the team. And he's doubly proven that you literally just can't cut him. It's that simple. But
we always knew Tyler Bass had a leg. It was just a matter of if he had the confidence and the accuracy to kick the kicks. You remember back in uh I think was the game against Arizona just a few years that was the Hail Murray game.
oh, that game,
He kicked a lot of great kicks and he hit them from distance. Like I think at one point he hit like a 58 yarder that probably could have been good from 70.
good
We all
God, that
knew he had the leg. It was a matter of the consistency and confidence if he can, make it through the uprights. And he showed that, he had the leg from 61. That thing probably is good. I think one guy, one Bills fan out on Twitter says like, can someone do the math and tell me how good this would be from from where, because he kicked it from 61, but it definitely wasn't just going to be good just from 61. And someone did the math and they said it would be good from about 67 yards. So he has a leg. So if he can just start finding that consistency again and confidence again, I think the Bills will have, Tyler Bass for a long time. And, they think that too because they gave him an extension. So just a matter of consistency and confidence with Tyler Bass.
Absolutely, and we love to see the confidence. Well, we will be seeing the confidence now from Tyler Bass, and I have a good feeling that McDermott is going to be able to adjust the game plans now on fourth down to where we're seeing more Tyler Bass from a further distance away. I don't think he's going to ask them to consistently try to kick 61-yard field goals, obviously. Who would? You don't even ask that out of Justin Tucker, but he's definitely going to be more involved in the fourth down game the closer that they get within that 49, within that 40 to 50-yard range, 40 to 49, 50, that kind of area. Side note, if you could pick up Tyler Bass in fantasy, I'd probably recommend you do it. But um anyway, let's move on to the next topic because we already made the comments about being making mistakes, not making a mistakes, not moving at the deadline. I pretty much had a feeling that Amari Cooper was the move as much as I really would have loved for them to see what they could have gotten for Myles Garrett. I just I knew when I was talking about it that it was more of a show of just delusion than anything because I was like, yeah, there's no way because even if the Browns do blow it up, which they should,
Mm-hmm.
Myles Garrett
They
is a
should have.
is a very strong key to their rebuild for years. It's just a matter of would Garrett want to be part of a rebuilding organization, and if people did call for him, then you got to at least see what they want. And I would have practically given them everything in the kitchen sink until they said, "Oh, we want Josh Allen." Then you go, "No," and you hang up. But anyway, I don't think they made a mistake. I think they did exactly what they needed to do. I would have liked pass rush help, especially Sebastian Joseph Day, but for whatever reasons, it didn't happen. And hopefully, our guys will step up, and the ones that are not healthy right now will get healthy. But I don't want to answer this next question first because
Okay.
I'll have a better answer. What is
Okay.
your level of confidence of the Bills as they didn't do anything at the deadline, Paul? What do you think? I want to hear your opinion first because I feel like I know exactly where this is going to go, judging how you were talking about it earlier today.
All right. You probably think I'm about to give out the biggest overreaction since
Oh no, it's
we
not
were
going to be an
chatting.
overreaction.
The how we were chatting earlier in the day.
We mean we.
After the well, I
Yeah,
well,
you.
in the group chat, just things happen. Sometimes the mind goes south. But where I put the Bills' confidence level at right now, I think it's strong, and I think this team can still go on a magical run. If I would put it on a scale 1 to 10, I'd probably put it at 7.5.
Ooh,
I'm not
all right.
putting it at a full 8 yet, putting it at 7.5. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell the audience why. I'm going to put it on, this run defense. We all know this offense is really good. Like, really good. Like, advanced analytics, Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Ray Davis, James Cook. We all know this Bills offense is good. We all knew
Mhm.
entering the season this Bills offense was going to be good. It was
Ray
just a
Davis, the
matter of
goat.
time. One thing I didn't expect out of the Bills was how poor this run defense has played, through the first 9 games. And, with Jonathan Taylor on the docket, then you get you get a San Francisco team, without Christian McCaffrey is
He'll be
top
back by then.
3.
He'll be
Yeah,
back by the time we get around to it.
true. But, like, without him right now, there's still a top 3 run defense in the NFL. Then you get the Detroit Lions, top 5 run offense in the league right now. So, the Bills allowing 123 yards on the ground and allowing 4.8 yards per carry pulls me back just a little bit. like on the confidence skills, like, big game, they could get by, allowing, big numbers on the run against some of the teams that they faced so far this season. But, a game against, the Lions or the 49ers per se, you may not escape that game with a win if you allow 123, 180 yards on the ground. It just would just turned into, you know, I wouldn't want to say a blowout, but it would just turn into a game that I'm not 100% comfortable in right now. The Bills'
Well,
first real shootout game was this weekend, and we handled it well. And we handled that game really well.
that's a divisional game.
If
The
the
fact that we did
Bills
is better than most. I mean,
right,
that's the key thing. That's a divisional game. If you got into a shootout with a bad team like the Giants, like uh the Raiders, like the Panthers, yeah, I'd be a little worried, but that's a divisional game against a team who is literally just now getting back into their prime with a healthy Tua being able to actually throw the ball accurately to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle, getting Odell Beckham involved, getting more of the tight ends involved. And now because you have to think about Hill and Waddle, you don't really think much about Achan, who is just as deadly, if not more deadly, and then Raheem Mostert. So the fact that we were able to win that game in the shootout manner, that bodes well for the Bills. It really
oh, it
does.
does.
We've gone against some very elite running teams too. I mean, when you think about it, you know, Ravens, freaking Derrick Henry on MVP pace right now. Not even
Yeah,
kidding. If he breaks 2,000 yards in a single season, name him the MVP. I don't care. Um,
absolutely.
let's see. We had them, and then you had obviously last week Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane. We've had them twice, or Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert. We had them twice. Even the Texans. Joe Mixon played in that game, right? I know he got injured for a while and
No,
was out.
he did
He
not
didn't
play in
play
that
in
game.
that one, did we? Yeah, they were still running the ball all over us, and that's a problem. When you
Mhm.
have a guy named Larry Ogun, I still can't pronounce his last name.
Ogunbowale.
Yeah, when he literally is making you go, "Who on earth is that?" You got a little bit of a problem. So, you got that, and then Arizona, Kyler Murray's a mobile quarterback, of course, and
Mhm.
then James Conner is still good, but he's definitely not the 2018 Conner that could literally have been classified as a top 5 running back. Too high. Top 10 running back in the league in 2018. So, and when you look at the schedule coming up, you said it, Paul. We've got so many really great running backs coming up this week. Jonathan Taylor. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big one. Jonathan Taylor is an absolutely
Uh,
insane
mm,
player. But what gives me hope about the team and why I'm not panicking so far is we stopped Kenneth Walker completely. And I would argue Kenneth Walker is much better than James Conner. He's much better than what we saw out of the Texans. He's much better than, I wouldn't say Brees Hall. That's a stretch. I'd say Brees Hall's definitely better. But then again, we kind of put the stop on him too. We stopped Brees Hall. We stopped Kenneth Walker. There is hope that this run defense can actually show up when it matters. And that's
hey, could do a
just
pushback just really quick on those two?
why. Why do you have to
Just
do this?
is that Seattle and the Jets offensive line were just not good.
No, they're not.
They're just, so you would think that's, yes, I'm going to give the Bills credit. They stopped Kenneth Walker. They stopped Brees Hall. They found ways. They found ways to stop the run, but sometimes you have to find ways to stop these elite guys,
Helps when all
and
your
they
best players
still.
are helps when all your best players are on the field too.
That is true.
Like
So
that's
we
the
are
big
put.
thing. One of our best defensive players hasn't been on the field yet this season and won't be for at least another few weeks, talking about Matt Milano. We had plenty of periods of time where we were without
Mhm,
Terrell Bernard and Taron Johnson. I mean, the defense is beat up. The offense hasn't fared much better because we still don't know about Keon Coleman's wrist,
yeah,
and
you're right.
there's so much more that I could say regarding injuries. But this team's still 7-2. They've
Mhm.
they have what it takes
Absolutely.
to stop the run with elite playmakers. Like like I said, yeah, they stopped Kenneth Walker. They stopped Brees Hall. They've got a few more really important opponents to stop. They've got to stop Jonathan Taylor. They've got to be able to stop Christian McCaffrey. They've got to be able to stop Kyron Williams. Then David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs. I mean, it's not going to be easy down the stretch. So they have to figure it out. The trade would have been nice, but I just think that Bean's really hoping that the players that we already have. Wait, hold on. I got to say it. There are players on this roster that got to step up.
There is.
Yes, I had to do the McDermott thing. Or no, that was Bean, right? Or was it
That
McDermott
was
that actually
Bean.
said it? There are players
No,
on
that's
this
McDermott.
roster.
McDermott says
Yeah,
there's players on McDermott said that.
there's
Yep.
players on
You're
this
right.
roster,
There's players on this roster. Yep.
and he's hoping that they'll come back and they will absolutely, improve and play out of their minds. And I'm willing to stand with him on that one because that's what good teams do.
hmm
And good teams, they find ways to win. So,
This this goes to the question that was asked, a little bit to, by 716 Sports Blizzard here. Do you see a difference with, from Von Miller being in or out of the lineup? Think it helps getting Von Miller back.
mhm,
He wasn't a force on, on Sunday. He wasn't, that instant impact just yet. But that was his first game after missing 4 games. Weeks 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 before he got suspended. Von Miller looked like a shed of his old self. You know, he was playing, out of his mind. He was getting tackles. He was getting pressures to the quarterback. It might have not resulted in sacks, and that could be said for Greg Rousseau
mhm.
and AJ Epinesa. It doesn't
Gru
have to register in sacks, but they're
I've been
disrupting the
saying that.
quarterback.
Yeah, I've been saying
They're
that to you for weeks now. They don't have to get the sack every time they get in the backfield. If they generate the pressure and get the quarterback off balance, that's almost as good
and
enough because that can lead to interceptions.
that's where my confidence level rises. It's like they're getting through. They're getting through, and they're winning at the line of scrimmage. I think Greg Rousseau is one of the top in the NFL right now in win rates at the line of scrimmage right now. You win at the line of scrimmage. That means you're shedding off the offensive lineman, and he did it really great job, great job at it against the Miami Dolphins this weekend.
Swish to the fish.
He's Greg Rousseau is a freak of nature, and he's showing why he is. And I think just like the offense, where we thought this Bills offense was going to struggle, and then they reemerged and become one of the better offenses in the league. I think the same could be said for this pass rush and possibly for this run defense. It might only take 9 games of this run defense to struggle, but the remaining 8 games, they could just turn this around in a flash and, stop Christian McCaffrey. And, all it takes this weekend is just a little bit of confidence, and you stop Jonathan Taylor and you say you hold him. He's been averaging about 83 yards a game. You say you hold him to 50 yards this week. That's a tough task to do. But if you hold him to 50 yards this week, that reinstalls confidence in your team and says, hey, we stopped Jonathan Taylor this week, who
Yeah,
says we can't stop Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery.
that'll be a much tougher that'll be a tougher game. Like that one out of all the games we have coming up on the schedule is the one that actually worries me the most. That is
Yeah.
a potential Super Bowl preview between the Bills and the Lions. But that's for another time. I don't really want to talk about the Lions. I'd rather talk about the Colts because we're playing the Colts this week. So let's see. So
All
you're
right, we're
not
going to stay.
all right. Yeah. So
What is your confidence level? I never actually have allowed you to,
what
to
you said
put
yours
your
was what 7?
7.5.
Mine's 9. And the only reason it's not a full 10 is because the team isn't healthy completely and they didn't make the Sebastian Joseph Day trade. But other than that, it's a 9. And that's because like I said, they've proven that they can stop the run. They stopped Kenneth Walker and Brees Hall. They just have to figure out how to properly scheme on defense to put more attention into stopping the run. Because a team like the Colts, let's be completely honest, you can put more attention to stopping Jonathan Taylor than keeping their wide receivers contained, especially if Christian Benford plays. Who's the only wide receiver on that team you're really going to worry about? Josh Downs, Michael
I mean,
Pittman.
he's
I
been
don't even.
good this year.
Yeah, Josh Downs has been great. My fantasy team adores him. But right now, he does not move the needle for me. Jonathan Taylor is the only thing that moves the needle. Like, you just put Benford on Downs, shadow him most of the time, and I think you can actually corral their pass defense pretty easy, or their passing game halfway easily. I mean, yeah, they got Joe Flacco, who's been playing a whole lot better than Anthony Richardson did, but we'll just have to see what happens. I actually will have to do more looking into what their pass block win rate is, the Colts, and their run block win rate to see if we have a favorable matchup on the defensive front. Because if we do, we may absolutely feast. And that's not even getting into the fact that their center, the Colts center, right, is out for this game. Like that's a
Hmm.
hole. That is a hole that they won't be able to just patch up. So I'm very
Speaking of
confident in
that,
the team moving
I
forward.
have it right here for the Indianapolis Colts. So their
Oh, do you?
pass block win rate right now stands at, I gotta find the Colts again, at 51%. That's 29th in the NFL.
That's bad.
But on the flip side, the run block win rate is third in the NFL. So they're good at blocking against the run,
That's because that's all
but
they've got.
right, but
Like
they're not really
if
good at pass protection. So
you
if
could
you're
see it, you could see it in the Vikings game too on Sunday night. Whenever Joe Flacco dropped back to pass, it seemed like the Vikings got in there to get the sack every single time. Once they stopped the Colts run game, it was over. And
and
that's kind of how I feel like this weekend is going to have to go as well. Stop Jonathan Taylor, and you stop the Colts offense in its tracks. You just can't let Josh Downs get away, which that's what Christian Benford's for, being elite as he is. But like I said, my confidence level's a 9. I feel like if pending injury, of course, I hope Christian Benford comes back to play this week. I hope Keon Coleman's wrist injury is not too serious to where he has to go on IR. And the fact of the matter is, if his injury was serious, the Bills would have probably made a trade at the trade deadline for a wide
mhm,
receiver in that role. The
absolutely.
fact that they didn't means that they're pretty confident that Keon might, if he misses any time, it might be like one game. But
If you
that's,
want Keon to miss one game, I would use it this week.
yep,
I would use
use
it
it this
against
week because
Indianapolis.
yep, use it in the last basically give me game, quote unquote, of your stretch while you're 7-2. Because if you beat the Colts, and you go to 8-2, look who you're letting into your house the very next week.
Mhm, and that could be
I've said
potentially
my
the battle for the 1
I've,
seed.
I've said my piece on them though. They're more lucky than good. We're gonna find out in 2 weeks whether it's all luck or whether they really are just this good. But anyway, I don't want to talk about them either. But Uh,
So the
standout
next
player from week 8. Paul, this
yeah.
one's all on you right here. And you
Alright,
can't
I wrote, like, 5 different players down because there's so many players that could be noted
okay.
as standout players. You know, you it goes from Greg Rousseau to Taron Johnson to Tyler
Yep.
Bass. I mean, even though Sean McDermott isn't a player, I mean, he had a really good game which seems like a trend. Every time he uses a timeout or wastes a timeout, it turns into a touchdown for the opposing team. So other than those two, game management mistakes, Sean McDermott had a pretty good coached game. You know, he trusts Tyler Bass for the win. So I'm going to give it to Tyler Bass because why not? You
How
know,
dare you? That was
it
gonna be
seems like
mine, and I had a great way of saying it. So now you gotta make me switch? Okay, fine.
you know what? Actually, let me give it to you because it seems like we're going to give you Tyler Bass
Well, yeah,
because it seems
duh.
like you let's give you Tyler Bass, and then I'm gonna go Greg Rousseau. Why not? Because
Did you
he's a freak of nature.
did you not see my tweet
When?
when the show went live? Did you not see my tweet?
I did not know.
I okay, it's because I quote tweeted the account, but T-Bass!
Yeah.
I had to do it because Josh Allen did it. I felt like I had to absolutely do it because that's,
Mhm.
I mean, standout player of the week cannot be anybody else but Tyler Bass. You restore Tyler Bass's confidence and you establish him at, if he could keep that up, a 40, a 49, a 61, and an extra point, 10 points in the game, we might be talking about a top kicker on our hands as long as he just sticks with it,
Sticks with it.
remains,
Yep.
just whatever he's doing it when he's training, whenever he's in the practice field, whatever he's doing when he's training, stick with it because whatever it is, it's working. As long as we don't find out later he's doing like ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers or something. Probably not, but
What is the possibility he got a random drug test after the 61-yard kick,
we
just
would
at
have
his
known.
locker?
Someone would have told us. Someone in the Bills locker room with social media would have said, "Oh, he got a
Yeah,
random drug test after that game," which would have been absolutely
that
hilarious.
would have been hilarious.
Oh, this man just kicked a 61-yard field goal? Drug test. But no, I can understand why you would also say Groot because he was absolutely outstanding on the defensive side of the ball. He needs to be more consistent with those types of plays. He did that against Miami. He had a really good stretch for the first 2 weeks, but we got a lot of tough games coming against some really good offensive lines. He's got to step it up against the good lines. Like that's going to be the what's telling. But no,
Mhm.
I had to say I had obviously it's no one other than Tyler Bass, but Greg Rousseau deserves an honorable mention. Man is a legend and played like it last week. So,
His stat line's wild too. You go 7 combined tackles, 3 assists, 3 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit. Also know he had a sack and 1.5 stuffs. I mean,
way,
Greg Rousseau had a legacy game against the Miami Dolphins, and you go back to week 1 where he had, a great 3 sack performance, 1 stuff, and, tackles for losses in week 1. He's been on and off since then, but like the last 3 games, it seems like Greg Rousseau has found some sort of consistency in his game, and that can only continue. And if it continues, if this continues for Greg Rousseau, the Bills have a really, really, really good pass rusher on their hands because
mhm,
again, he's one of the better defensive ends on this current Bills roster that can win at the line, and he's doing it consistently. And he's just not
way,
like sidestepping a guy; he's going through the line, ripping through offensive linemen like they're paper. So
way. Hold on.
kudos,
I just thought of another standout player of the week. This is going to
do
be a
it.
very
Say it.
unorthodox player of the week, but I just
It's
thought
coming
of
up
it.
for you.
It's Jordan Poyer, and he doesn't even play for the Bills anymore. That brother committing that
All
penalty when
right.
he did against Keon Coleman basically handed the Bills the game. So Jordan Poyer might be in a Dolphins uniform, but that man is a Bill at heart. You can see it when he playing on the field. Man did not do anything against Buffalo, and that brother was actually pretty much gave Buffalo the win with that
He did,
horrible penalty against Keon. I mean, I
and
gotta give
also
an
hurt him
honorable
too,
mention to
so
Jordan Poyer, man, as a standout player of the game for the Bills. I just thought of it. I had to say it.
yeah, standout player, helped the Bills get into field goal range for Tyler Bass, but he also might have sidelined, Keon Coleman, uh, for a little bit, hopefully just for a game, if not, just a little soreness for Keon Coleman. But before we get into game picks, kind of wanted to discuss, the impact of Keon Coleman, and I'm gonna give it to you because you and Ben are the Keon Coleman experts, it seems, this year.
Duh. Well, yeah, I told people for months
If
before the draft that the Bills would be a great fit for Keon Coleman. No one believed me. Then all of a sudden, look at him. Now, do you
we're
want to
gonna
listen? Huh?
So let's put it this way. Let's say Keon Coleman does end up on the IR and he has to miss 4 weeks.
I doubt it.
Let's say that's a reality or it turns into something where he has to miss a game or two. What kind of impact do you think it could have on the Bills offense if he misses any time?
Not much because they just need to keep doing what they've been doing. Run the ball. James Cook has been absolutely lights out. The stats don't really reflect it, but the Dolphins were afraid when that man got the ball in the backfield. Ray Davis has been coming into his own as well. I mean, they've been using him. They've been using Ty Johnson, and they've really been effective with a three-tier running back system. Like that's the whole idea. If Keon's out for even one or two games, just run the friggin' ball. They've been doing it so well the past few weeks. Don't stop. Keep going. You literally keep their defense on the field for longer, which tires them out, which allows you to have a little more freedom on offense. So I don't think Keon being out will matter too much in the grand scheme because we just need to keep running the ball. But as
Mhm,
for specific looks, I mean, they are using Keon to go deep and get the balls that are going to be hard for other receivers to catch, which is ironic considering Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir are practically the 1-2 combo for QB wide receiver in terms of catch rate. So I think I don't really know what they'll do they won't have somebody go out there and do exactly what Keon does. No way. It won't happen. You cannot tell one of the guys you call up for the practice squad, like Jalen Virgil, to go out there and do that. He's not going to
mhm.
do that. What's probably going to happen is he might not jump as high or he might not get as physical, and it might wind up turning into a weird fluky interception like what happened with Jalen Ramsey on Keon Coleman. That was a fluke. You can't convince me otherwise. Keon had it in his hands. It just bounced up the right way and zip. It just happened to be an interception. Both of Josh Allen's interceptions this year have been so fluky. The
It
first one
has.
in the rain when Amari Cooper slips, and then this one, Keon just happens to not get the ball, is reaching for it, and Jalen just happens to be a little faster. It's not like Josh Allen literally threw the ball directly to Jalen Ramsey with no Bills receiver in the wide open area. So, but interceptions are interceptions on the stat sheet, and they're unfortunately on an interception is an interception in fantasy too. Thanks, Josh. I had negative zero point 0.6 points from him at one point before he wound up coming back, which I'm not someone that's going to go into a guy's DMs, an athlete's
Oh
DMs,
my.
and tell him he sucks after a
Oh,
fantasy
jeez.
misstep. People do, and it's disgusting.
They
I
have,
hate it.
yeah. It is very. But
But we have game picks to
hopefully
get to,
Keon
don't
doesn't
we?
have to miss time because he's just been an absolute goat for the Bills so far this
The past
season.
few weeks, once he got
Past few
into it,
weeks, yeah.
like he he's like any other developmental, player. He's gonna need time to get into he's gonna need time to get into the NFL. Like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk for the Rams, they were very non-existent the first few weeks of the season. Now they look like two of the best defensive rookies in the NFL right now. They've been playing that well together. I've been watching a lot of Rams games lately, and they've been absolutely outstanding. But anyway, we have
Really
game picks to
scouting.
get to,
We do.
and these are going to be some good ones. So let's go. And Paul, I have a bonus for you at the end of this one.
Oh no. Okay.
What do you mean? Oh no, hold on. Yeah, you're making me pick 2 college games. I have a bonus for you.
Okay. All right. We have 8 games on the docket tonight. I, with all the ups that I picked last week, made me look horrible. I'm back down to 500.
Haha,
Ben had the best week. He went 5-2 this week, so he
nice.
had a pretty good week as well. You went 4 and I think you went 4 and something, but whatever. I think you went
27 and
4 and
23
3.
though. We move.
Yeah, you are. That's better than me. So you move, we go on. Let's move on to the Thursday night game because it's the one of the first AFC North battles that we're going to see it toward the end of the season. Is Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals? The Bengals need this game to stay in playoff contention.
What a disappointment of a team. Who would have thought Cincinnati would have been this bad? I thought they could have actually had a shot at the AFC North. Shows to know how much I know about football. But um, honestly, though, I think the Ravens are going to win. And it's funny because I don't think both teams are really built for what is true AFC North football. The Bengals especially are. They are not made for that type of hard-nosed game. They're not. Joe Burrow is not. Jamar Chase is not. Their running backs are not. The whole team is not an AFC North caliber team because they just aren't that physical. But the Ravens, they are. But Lamar Jackson tends to get a little more rattled against more physical defenses that get in his face more often. But the Bengals don't really have that. The Steelers do. The Browns really don't have that either. It's only the Steelers, which is why you see Lamar Jackson historically struggle with the Steelers. But no, I'm still taking the Ravens. Are you taking the Ravens too, or are you taking the Bengals?
I'm taking the Ravens as well. Ben is
There we
also
go.
taking the Ravens. We have a
Sweep.
clean sweep. And I think it's noted, the Bengals just haven't been the same team as this year. They didn't add anything at the trade deadline, to help that defense, which has been the issue all season for them. So I think they're just going to ride out the season the way it is, and they might not even end up making the playoffs because of that. We'll have to wait and see. There's still 8 games left in the season for a lot of these teams, and you know, it all starts this weekend, Thursday night football. But we do have an international game this
Oh,
weekend.
oh
We
yeah,
got
that's
to
right. We
wake up.
do.
We have to wake up early to watch Daniel Jones and the New York Giants
Who wants to
host
wa-
Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers
Who's
in
waking up
Germany.
early for that? Who is waking up early to watch that? That is not just a tank bowl. That is a super tank bowl. One of these two teams is going to get the number one overall pick. I promise. Oh
Who
my
wins the Tank Bowl?
good lord. Neither. They just tie. I'm kidding. No, the whole point of a game like this,
Are
or
you
at least it
picking a
should
tie?
be, no, God, no. They're both bad, but at the end of the day, I have to say the Giants are just a little less bad. So I have to take the Giants. I don't know. I can't believe I'm even saying that right now. Why am I taking the Giants? But they're playing the Panthers.
They
It's
they
bad
kept
against really
Ojulari and
bad.
they kept Slayton. They have a chance in this game. They believe that whatever they have will continue to go well for them. Ben went Carolina. I'm going Carolina as well. I just feel like,
Y'all are going Carolina with Bryce Young starting.
he had a decent week this week.
I would have gone Carolina if Andy Dalton was starting. But no. With Bryce Young starting. As a matter of fact, I'm genuinely serious. Genuinely serious. I feel like the Giants are probably going to be that streamer defense that you would take in fantasy because they're playing Bryce Young. And the ironic part about it is they're both streamers for each other. You could have one or the other, and it doesn't matter. Watch them both like go into the fourth quarter 0-0, and both defenses have like 20 something points because it's been nothing but turnovers all game. I'm just laughing thinking about it.
All right,
So
next game goes on to the NFC side. Tampa Bay decided not to go for the 2-point conversion, now puts them in desperate need this weekend as they host the San Francisco 49ers, who are also in desperate need of a win to try to stay in the race in the NFC wildcard picture, but also possibly
what do
stay
you mean wild
alive
card picture?
for
Have you
the
seen that
NFC
division?
West.
Yeah, the Cardinals are 5-4. The Rams are 4-4. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Seahawks are 3-5, the lowest mark in the division because oh, my brain just blanked. Yeah, my brain has actually blanked. There's three teams in the NFC West, and I just forgot the other one.
Rams?
No, I
Mhm.
said the Rams should be 4-4 if I remember correctly. The Rams are 4-4. The Cardinals are 5-4. The Niners, that's right. They're both
Yeah,
the
Niners.
Rams and Niners are both 4-4. So this is pretty much a game that could get them up in the NFC West race because it is absolutely entirely not over. And that one probably won't be decided till the end of the season at this rate with how the 49ers are just injured to pieces.
Hmm.
The Rams were the same way, but now that they're getting healthy again, they're getting dangerous. The Cardinals are just mid. but at least, they have the lead in that division with a 500 record. And then the Seahawks, well, sorry, Caden. They're not bad, but they need a quarterback change fast. Anyway, the game of the question is the Bucks and the 49ers, correct?
Yes.
I would have gone full send on the Bucks if Baker had Evans and Godwin. And the fact of the matter is that the fact they almost beat the Chiefs without both of them, which is why I
That
still
is true.
continue to beat the drum that the Chiefs are more lucky than they are good, because they've most of the games they've won have been one-score games. They look like the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers. They go 11-0 and they're going to be everybody's going to basically say the same thing. So, I'm still out of this game though. This one's tough because if Christian McCaffrey plays, I'm taking the Niners. If he doesn't play, I'm taking the Bucks. So, can we do that? Can we put it down where we wait until the injury report and then when Christian McCaffrey's status is determined, the pick is made?
Do you want me to put you as to be determined? We never
Yes.
done it before, but we
Yes.
could we could certainly put you as to be determined for the first time in pick history.
Yep. Yep.
There we go.
That's
We
how it
made
feels.
history tonight.
It's a to be determined pick because I would gladly take the 49ers if McCaffrey plays. But if he doesn't play, then they've got no shot against the Buccaneers, who are desperate and needing to stay right behind Atlanta in the NFC South. So, to be determined.
Okay,
Paul, go ahead and
so
make yours.
tune in later next week to see if Connor's pick turns out to cost him or not.
Yep.
But Ben has the 49ers, and I will go to 49ers as well. Does that help you in any swing at all before we
No,
move on? No?
no.
Okay.
I don't care what y'all are picking. I'm sticking to my own guts and my own brain.
All right, next game is Washington and the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 1 o'clock game. This is going to
Why
be
is
a
this game
fun
at
game
1?
to watch
Why is this game at 1? This game should not be at
because
1.
Lions Texans is Sunday night.
Okay. And Steelers are better than the Texans. Sue me.
Okay,
Sue me.
we have.
It's funny because I keep thinking that this was actually a game at the beginning of the year that I thought that the Steelers were going to be much better. The Commanders were going to be awful, and the Commanders were going to win because Pittsburgh has a habit of dropping really bad games to bad teams at home. But now all of a sudden it's flipped. The Commanders are really good, and the Steelers have a really dominant defense. And what's going appreciated, a really really dominant special teams unit. Have you seen the amount of kicks they blocked? That
Yeah,
that that Steelers special teams is really, really good. Probably one of the best in the league right now. Didn't think Danny Smith had it in him. But out of all of it, though, it just depends on how well the Steelers pass rush can get to Jaden Daniels. Mike Tomlin has a thing about being able to rattle a rookie quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers win, but I am going to take the Washington Commanders because it always seems like the Commanders just have a little bit of a
chip on their shoulder.
vendetta. No, a vendetta against Pittsburgh ever since that freaking game in 2020 that stopped the Steelers' 11-0 streak. So I'm taking the Commanders again.
Ben disagrees with you. He goes the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to agree with you with the Washington Commanders, and I think this is the start of the downfall of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
Oh, okay.
they're 9 and they're what is it? You can't go 8-8 anymore. So you have to go 9-8. So that this is the start of where you're going to start seeing the Steelers go back to just being over 500 and 9-8 and continues Tomlin's record of I think it would be now if he goes 9-8 this year would be 18 straight seasons of being 500 or better. So that's where it starts this week for the Steelers of going 9-8 this year. Interesting game out in Dallas because they're trying to save
Dallas.
their season if they can keep the rest of their season. They will host the Philadelphia Eagles, who are soaring high right now, but it's
Mm,
a
mm,
NFC East clash.
it is.
Anything can happen. It's a divisional game.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been
Does
trying to
Dallas
tell
have
you
a
that.
chance?
No. They got to start Cooper Rush. Like they're starting Cooper Rush. Do I need to say it again? They are starting Cooper Rush. This game is not going to be good. Eagles are going to absolutely have a field day on defense while Cooper Rush tries to get the ball out to CD Lamb by just throwing it deep and going, he's out there somewhere.
If there was a game that needed to be flexed this weekend, it was probably this game, the Dallas and Philly. Get it out of the Fox 425 national window and throw Washington and Steelers into 425 window on Fox, even though it would technically would be a CBS game because of the technicality of who gets AFC and NFC depending who hosts against an NFC and AFC team. But this would be fun. The Washington Steelers game would be a fun 425 game to watch, anyways.
Should have been
But
Sunday night.
you know, I will disagree with you in that. But Ben Ben picks Philly. I'm going to pick Philly. We all
Mhm.
know that I don't like Dallas, but
Sweep.
Dallas is starting Cooper Rush. They should have sold at the deadline. They're just a mess out in
Mhm.
Dallas, and it continues this weekend with a Nick Sirianni win
Oh,
over
God.
the Dallas Cowboys. But the nightcap, waiting all day for Sunday night for Jared Goff going on the road to CJ Stroud. Ben has the Texans in this game.
Ben has the Texans.
Ben has the Texans.
Wow.
Do you agree with him or no?
No, absolutely not. Lions are going to absolutely destroy them. Okay, well maybe it won't be like that. They won't destroy them. But the Texans injuries are catching up to them at an alarming rate.
Actually, no, I'm lying.
What do
I
you mean you're
just fact
lying?
checked myself. I'm lying. He actually has the Lions in this game.
There we go. See, I knew Ben was better than that. I knew Ben was much better than that.
I had to fact check myself because I was like, the Texans, like they're without Nico Collins and Stefan Diggs. Like that doesn't sound right, but fact check. On election night, Detroit is Ben's pick.
Yep, it's mine too. The Texans injuries are starting to catch up to them. Absolutely. I mean, I believe they should be getting Nico Collins back this game. This should be
They
his
might,
return from
they might
IR.
not.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's active or not. But even if he was, I still don't think that they're going to win that game. Lions win the game.
Lions just look like a complete team on offense, on defense. They rolled over the Tennessee Titans. They should have rolled all over the Green Bay Packers. I think it was a 10-point win. Green Bay kept it close. This
Green
has the
Bay's kind of good though.
making. They have this game does have a making of being a fun Sunday night shootout in Dallas out in Houston.
Hmm.
But what keeps this from not being a shootout and being either a 2 or 3 score win for the Lions is, you gotta stop the two-headed monster of Gibbs and Montgomery. Would they be able to do that,
No,
this weekend? I don't know.
no, no.
Probably not. I don't think it's going to happen because it's hard to stop, you know, both of them. But at least you can't stop even if one goes off, it turns into a 2 or 3 score game victory for the Lions. I have the Lions. This is our third sweep of the weekend. So whatever that tells you about this weekend's slates of games
You're all
of
copying
being
me. Stop it.
we do have
If
two
anything.
college games on the docket today.
Oh
Uh
God.
Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama. I gotta pull up the
You know what? I can already tell
ESPN, the
you really
new.
quickly right now. Georgia wins. LSU wins. Boom. Done.
Okay,
I'm just going
done.
for it. You know
All right, I
me.
didn't even have to pull up the rankings because I was going to pull up the new rankings to tell you which teams are ranked higher than each other in the new CFP rankings. But Ben goes Georgia. I'm going to go with the Ole Miss upset. Ole Miss is at home in Oxford in the 3:30 window slate. Just depends with Jackson Dart. Uh, which side of Jackson Dart do you get? Do
A
you get the
bad one,
dud
probably.
Jackson Dart, or do you get the elite Jackson Dart this weekend? Hopefully, it's the elite Jackson Dart this weekend for Ole Miss. They're going to pick up the win. You have LSU. Ben goes Bama.
Ew.
I'm going LSU. at home in Baton Rouge, it's hard to beat LSU at night. Ask Ole Miss that.
Yes, absolutely ask Ole Miss that. But that should be our game picks, correct?
Yes, you said you had a bonus.
I have a
Let's
bonus
make
for
this
you.
bonus quick.
Yes, we will. We will because I don't want to talk about it much, or else I'm going to throw this hat all the way across my freaking room. Anyway, we're going to do a bonus pick right here because it's NASCAR Championship week, and of course, I will absolutely hit you with this one after you hit me with two college games. So
All
it is
right, let's.
championship week. We are down to the championship four, which is probably the worst championship four I've seen in years, ever since they established
Okay.
this stupid format. So you had a lot of fun the last time I did one of these for you. So it's four drivers competing for the championship. Best driver or driver with the highest finish in the race wins the championship, period, out of the four. So the four is Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. Out of those four, who wins the championship? Just pick one.
Name
I,
them again. I want to write
okay.
these guys down.
Okay. So you got Joey
'Cause I'm gonna
Logano,
forget. Uh-huh.
number 22. Literally think Ray Davis.
I just need names. I don't care about the numbers.
If
Just give me
oh
names.
God, rude. Anyway, yeah. So Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Tyler
Uh-huh.
Reddick,
Uh-huh.
and William Byron.
Okay.
Now, before you make this pick, um, let me throw in a little bit of context to make this a little easier for you. So Ryan Blaney is the current defending champion. Looks to
Okay.
repeat. No one has ever repeated as champion in this format in the Cup Series ever. Joey
Okay.
Logano is looking to be a three-time champion for
Mhm.
the second time in 4 years. He's won his only
Okay.
championships in even numbered years. So if this was ever a year for him, this would be it. Tyler Reddick
Okay.
has been one of the best drivers all year. And William Byron has gotten hot late and at times shown absolutely incredible speed and has been one of the drivers to beat in the playoffs. Out of these four, after all the context I've just given you, who wins the championship?
I'm gonna ask you one rebuttal question.
Okay.
Like it first so I can give you I have it down to 3 already. But
Oh,
who would you consider is the underdog here?
the absolute like underdog?
You. Who's the underdog?
It's
I
tough
would
because
think it's be Byron, right?
I'd probably well, considering the amount of crap that happened after that race and the officiating controversy, yeah, we have them too. It's not just the NFL, we have them too. It would probably be William
Give me
Byron.
the underdog. Okay.
Yeah, it's William Byron. He literally got thrown back in here because they deemed that Christopher Bell's move at Martinsville that would have gotten him into the championship four was a safety violation, so they kicked him out and put
Alright, I
William
have it
Byron
down to
in.
2. Have it
Oh,
down to 2.
alrighty. Who is it? Who's your two?
Logano's out, Reddick is out. So
Oh,
it's down to
bold.
Blaney and Byron.
All right, bold.
Byron, you said it's the underdog and the hottest racer currently right now.
One of them.
Blaney is a defending champion. You also
Yes,
said hasn't you haven't seen a back-to-back champion
not under this
in this
format.
format.
Nope.
Not in this format.
Nope.
Do you know when the last time a back-to-back champion happened? Just off the top of your head, yes or no?
Yes, back in it was actually the five times Jimmy Johnson won in a row from 2006 to 2010. There hasn't been a back-to-back champion in this sport since.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Give me
every
Blaney for that reason.
oh man, he's taking Blaney. You know, I actually out of the four, I would probably say that I don't think they're gonna name Blaney the favorite. I think they're gonna name Tyler Reddick the favorite. But I also would
Respected.
oh, it's very respect. I mean, it's hard too because the two best drivers all year, because of how the format is structured, aren't competing for a championship. Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell have been the class of the field all year, and they aren't competing for a championship. So
Okay, there you go.
I still think, I mean, Tyler Reddick was at one point the best driver all year. Kyle Larson was right behind him. Then Kyle Larson said, "Get out of my way." But we're going to probably see a very interesting race at Phoenix on Sunday to end the NASCAR season and hopefully to do away with this format for good because I had mentioned it earlier during the trade deadline, but nobody cared because everybody was still too focused on the trade deadline. It's actually the NFL's fault that NASCAR basically did this to themselves. Back in 2004, they were literally rivaling each other in terms of popularity. More people went to NASCAR races than they did NFL games in 2004. NASCAR was the most popular spectator sport in the country, but everybody watched NFL, on TV because they had all the good TV deals. So when they saw that, NASCAR's owners were like, you know what? The commissioner more like was, you know what? Let's see if we could spice this up for our ratings. So they introduced a playoff format that is literally indicative of something you'd see out of something like football or basketball or anything like that, and that torpedoed the sport from that point. It was it's hilarious in hindsight to think about, but yes, the NFL is indirectly responsible for NASCAR's own self demise.
All right.
But
There you go.
I had to throw that out. I had to throw that out on you. I'm gonna be very interested to see if you're right because oddly enough, the last time we did this, you were right, but not the right driver. So we're gonna find out if
Hey,
we're gonna
I
find
don't
out what
watch
happened.
anything racing, but you know, ask a few crucial questions. We'll drive it. Give me a select choice, and it will turn out. We'll turn it out, and hopefully, the best educated guess is right. But
Hmm.
any other final NFL thoughts that's lingering in
No,
your mind before we end out?
no, there
All
is
right.
not. There is
Well, that will be
now
that
that
for tonight.
that will be that indeed. I am really happy everybody was able to come out for the show. Thank you guys all who are ever watching on Twitter, on YouTube, on wherever you're watching, or if you just listen to us ramble in podcast form after the show, we appreciate that too. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, follow the hosts on Twitter, especially now that my angry NASCAR tweeting for the season is over or going to be over in a week, and my angry football tweeting will begin.
There
So,
you go.
if that is the only thing left, Paul, do you have anything left to say?
Follow us, follow the show. Thanks for the
Mhm.
people that were in the comments tonight.
Yes. Yes.
Helped the show tremendously throughout tonight. Give us
Mhm.
some extra topics.
Oh,
Made us
yes.
think just a little bit more about this team in a more in depth way. Brought the content of the show to another level. So if you're still watching, I see there's a lot of people watching this right now. Uh, Share it. With
Mhm.
your family, friends, coworkers. Friends of opposing teams. We all are
Just
for it.
just don't share it with Skip Bayless. Whoever hacked his Twitter account might get us.
Okay. Okay. Don't share it with Skip Bayless, but continue watching, continue supporting. But with that, ends of a week and go Bills.
T-Bass!